What's up, YouTube? Thank you for joining me once again for this live stream, man. It's nice to have you guys here. I got some things on my mind from yesterday's game. I'm not even sure if I'm live, so if you're in the chat, let me know you're live. Ayush, what's up, man? I see you in the chat. Hopefully, you can see me and you can hear me talking and that everything's going well here and we're live because I am trying out some new things here. Ayush, we got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about. I want to hear your opinions. I know you and me, sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, and that's exactly the kind of conversations I love. Again, I'm waiting to get some confirmation from you guys that I am actually live and that you can actually hear me so that I can go on with this show. If as soon as I get any confirmation from Ayush or anybody to let me know in the chat if everything is working out, and we will go on. You're live. Perfect. Thank you, Ayush. Thanks for letting me know. So, the first thing I want to talk about is right there on the agenda. We're going to use this little nice agenda that Sean made for me. And the first thing we're going to talk about is Patrick Dorgu. Man, first of all, I have been a big complainer. Maybe is not the right word, but I've been very critical of Patrick Dorgu and exactly like the way he plays and the mistakes he makes. And yesterday, he was good. He was really good. So, I got to throw him props. And I got to say that Patrick Dorgu is exactly the kind of right winger that we need. But guys, the problem is I need to see if Patrick Dorgu is going to be good on the left side as he was on the right side. And we got to see if Patrick Dorgu can be good without a fullback behind him. I thought that he was super comfortable having Delo behind him, which kind of freed him up to express himself. And I do believe that he can do it, by the way. This isn't me. I know that might have come off like I'm sounding negative, but actually, I do believe that he can actually be good on the left side because I heard his post-match interview. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he did a post-match interview with Aiden Heaven by his side, a quick one, and he brought up the word confidence, that he's been having to work on his confidence, and that told me a lot about him. That one word, the way he brought it up, that he's been working on his confidence and he has confidence issues, which came out of nowhere when someone's interviewing him about how well he played, lets you know that this kid maybe does have something and his mentality has been holding him back. Maybe he is capable of putting those kind of performances and his mentality or his confidence issues are what's holding him back. So I'm going to be watching Patrick Dorgu for the next 2-3 games. And I'm going to be watching to see that if the mistakes are... So when someone has confidence issues, what you notice in their game is reacting slow because they're worried too much. And also panicky moves, panicky, nervous type moves. That's where it shows up. It doesn't show up in he's got a cross to make and then he hits a cross really bad. That's not where the confidence usually shows up. Don't get me wrong, lack of confidence will make your deliveries bad too, but really where the nerves show up is when your footwork is not good because you're nervous and you're panicking and your feet move a little too quick, or the opposite happens where you're stuck, where you feel like your feet are in cement and you don't move in time. You move late, you make a decision late, and you bounce late. So I'm going to be watching out for that. I think that maybe his problem has always been confidence and that I've misdiagnosed it to lack of talent maybe, but obviously after yesterday's game, the talent is there. The talent is there, and now I have to start saying that the talent is there because I'm not dumb, like it was there for all of us to see. It's almost like the way I blame people for not seeing Ruben's talent in coaching. Like Ruben is obviously talented in coaching. The kinds of patterns, routines he sets up and the ways that he finds space in games and his routines and patterns open up spaces in games. He's obviously a really good coach and manager. Now, don't get me wrong, he's also been stubborn and sometimes his decision making may be something that me or you don't agree with, but there's no doubting that he's a talented manager. And now I can say that I can't really doubt that Dorgu's talented. And we need to find out how we can help this kid's mentality to grow. But I also need to know if he can play without a fullback behind him, if that makes any sense. Because that 4-2-3-1 that we played in yesterday, I don't know if that's going to be our long-term vision for how we're going to move forward. I'm going to read a comment here. Dorgu seemed to be more calculating in his approach to the way Newcastle played. he seemed to create more space for himself and teammates. More importantly, he gave no time for the opposition to think. That is a great comment, and I agree with everything you said. He played really well. I rewatched the first half only so far. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna rewatch the second half too because I need to understand this game a little bit deeper. I rewatched the first half, and I was very impressed with all his decision making, all his um, times to realize when to jump, when to sit back, and what he did in possession and the positions he took. I was very impressed, and I'm like, where's this guy been? And how come this guy wasn't playing like that when he was playing as left wing back? And that's what made me think that maybe it was the security blanket of having Delo behind him. That does a lot for a player, man. When you start feeling secure and safe to go and express yourself and not worry that if you make a mistake, you're leaving the whole back line under danger. But when you have Delo behind you, who is a calming influence. I mean, Delo is not a lazy person. He's always there to help when help is needed. That might be the reason why Dorgu was able to overcome his confidence issues. But now he's going to have to challenge himself to overcome that even when there is no security blanket. You still have to perform, even if you're playing as a wingback and there is no fullback behind you. We might win a lot of games, but I doubt we'll win the Premier League or Champions League. Are we talking about this season? I mean, obviously we're not going to win. Or are we? What are we talking about? Composed view. Let me know what you mean by that. Who are we talking about? Why are we talking about Champions League? So we're obviously not talking about this season. Marcus, what's up, man? Dorgu got into open spaces a lot more. That formation isn't sustainable. Okay, composed view is talking about the formation. The formation is on the agenda, as you can see here. It's the third topic. We will get to it, and I have a lot to say about that formation and Ruben overall. So we will get there, composed view. Thank you for bringing that up. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually Licha's influence. Let's go to that. Licha played as our captain yesterday, and he was a fantastic choice by Ruben Amorim. I was so happy to see that the captain's armband was on Martinez. Martinez, to me, some things I noticed about... Now, all of us are talking about how great Heaven played. Heaven was amazing. And the truth is, the pairing was really good yesterday. Licha and Heaven together was... They got a clean sheet. So, obviously, that pairing worked. When I rewatched the first half... Guys, I'll give you one example because I don't want to give you too many examples because I'm going to use it in my tactical breakdown video. But I'll give you one example if you want to go see it for yourself. There's something I noticed in the 5th minute, 5 minutes and 12 seconds in, or 5 minutes and 14 seconds in, right around there. You see Aiden Heaven telling Licha to step up and cover a man with his hands, with his mouth, like just yelling and telling Lisandro Martinez to step up and cover a man. Now, you would think that I'm saying this as a praise for Aiden Heaven, but I'm actually using this as a praise for Licha. I believe... It's my belief, because the Bournemouth game I watched over and over again, and I didn't see Aiden Heaven doing things like that. I didn't see Lenny Yoro doing things like that. And I've always said that one of the biggest mistakes we have in our center backs is that they're young, and communication is such a big need on the back line from the goalkeeper and from the center backs. Their mouth needs to keep going. They need to communicate. They need to tell each other what they're thinking. If they're telling Lisandro, you go get that guy, it's because I have your back. I'm going to be here. I'll cover this area. You don't need to worry about it. You need to go over there, which is what I think was a problem in the Bournemouth game. If you remember, in the Bournemouth game, we got scored on by Semeex, and all we needed there was Lenny Yoro, who was behind Aiden Heaven, to tell Aiden Heaven, you go out to Semeex, I got your back. And that communication wasn't happening. So Aiden Heaven kept covering the center, and they basically let Semeex just walk it in. But yesterday, Aiden Heaven was talking to Licha, and believe me, that's not something that just came... I don't think, actually. I shouldn't say believe me, because I don't know for facts. But I think that's something in training that Licha would be telling Aiden Heaven, like, hey, you have to talk to me. You have to tell me what you see so that we're on the same page. And I think you saw a little bit of that yesterday. And I think that's Licha's influence. I think that's Lisandro Martinez's influence, teaching Aiden Heaven how to be a good center back. And Aiden Heaven, all praise to him for learning and becoming a better center back at such a young age. So I'm not I'm not taking credit away from Aiden Heaven here, but I really think that Licha is a great influence on Aiden Heaven. I think that Licha playing in that center back role next to Aiden Heaven will teach him a lot. And there are a couple of moments in the game where I saw Aiden Heaven right on Walter Maida's back or somebody's back, and it reminded me of the way Licha defends, where he just puts his knees up against the other person's rear end and doesn't let them turn. He gets physical with them, and I saw that from Aiden Heaven yesterday, which again, I applaud Licha for that. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe Licha has nothing to do with it, but I'd like to think that Licha's influence is what made that happen. I'd like to think that it's those kind of moments in training that that influenced Ruben Amorim to give him the captain's armband. That's just me. I might be wrong, like I said. Martinez has a psychological configuration that what? Let me see here. I missed. There we go. Martinez has a psychological configuration that spills onto our defense. If it is no coincidence that Delo and Dorgu had good chemistry in that game, Ugarte played better, and Heaven got man of the match. Heaven did get man of the match for, what do you call it, on the Sky Sports thing, and SofaScore gave man of the match to Patrick Dorgu. Honestly, to me, it could have gone either way. I think both players were really good, and I don't mind saying that both players deserve the man of the match. That's just me. Hey, Semeex, the Gandalf of the Thank you, Art, man. Thank you for being here, man. I'm not going to berate Amorim for his second half substitutions, given the circumstances, knowing we are missing loads of key players due to AFCON injuries and suspensions. Guys, we can't blame Amorim for doing what he did in the second half. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, I've seen a lot of people come out and say, I can't believe you took out Casemiro. Yeah, okay. You don't agree with the Casemiro take, but honestly, if you go and look at the game, it's easy to find, by the way. You can find the game state and SofaScore. You can see the attacks from each team. Before Casemiro's substitution, we didn't have the ball. Casemiro coming out didn't change what was happening in the game. It was already like that. It was already with Newcastle dominating. I think he took out Casemiro because of what he said. He himself said in the post-match conference, he took out Casemiro because he thought Cunha was going to be our pressure release valve, if you will. If you know what I mean when I say it. I'm going to let Sean in the room. Sean is here with me. Sean's going to be with me for a little while, and then we're going to do a call-in show and have you guys join too. For now, it's just going to be me and Sean until we get through all these sections here. So let's let Sean in. Hey, Sean, what's up, man? Let me change the layout because you're the only one on the screen right now. There we go. Okay, so
no worries, man. How you doing, man?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm good. So what I was saying was that people are like taking the mick out of Ruben Amorim or whatever. They're saying negative things about the substitutions because of the Casemiro substitution. And what I'm saying is, after looking at the stats and the game states a little bit more, it really didn't change anything. Like Newcastle was already dominating the ball far before Casemiro got taken out. So it wasn't like Casemiro got taken out of the game and all of a sudden Newcastle are dominating the ball and now we have no way out, no release valve. And then him in the press conference, Ruben said in the press conference that he couldn't take out Cunha because Cunha was our only pressure release valve, if you will. Cunha was the only person able to keep the ball and dribble it out of our half. So I totally understand that. He said that Ugarte's legs were fresher than Cass's, which we all know. And by the way, Ugarte wasn't having a bad game, or else I think he would have took out Ugarte if Ugarte was having a bad game. So he just basically just used logic to go, hey, it looks like the slowest legs we have out there right now is Casemiro. Ugarte is not playing bad. Let me get some fresh legs in and see if that helps us get the ball back a little bit more often.
Tabi Samfana. Tabi Samfana.
There you go. Tabi Samfana here with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. Just joined the stream. Want to ask, am I the only person that is annoyed with big streamers that were Amorim out, like Saeed, saying, see, 4-3-3 works. We were right. I badly want 3-4-3 back after AFCON. That is actually something we're going to – it's on the agenda. Actually, Sean, let me have you comment on the substitution first. And then we're going to go right into the super chat because that was the next section on the agenda. So talk to me about the substitution. What did you think of the substitution? And now that we've had some time to think and reflect, do you agree or disagree with the like? Who else could he have? He needed to change something at that point. We were being
So
suffocated, right?
what I'm doing right now, I'm bringing up the game. It was I'm gonna do it by order of when the substitutions happened. So the first substitution that was made was Mount at halftime, and that was to bring on Jack Fletcher. That was once again force his hand substitution, not something that I think that he would have opted for. I think in a better game state, maybe if he envisioned us getting another goal, um, because we were really flying in that first half. I really enjoyed the way that the team was set up. It kind of gave a lot of credence to the idea that, hey, these guys have been doing for at the back. It's not just some lip service that the athletic boys are kind of filtering out. So that was a reactive change. And then at around the 60th minute, you saw the Sheshko and Casemiro being taken off for Xerxes and Yoro. I think the bigger impact of the game losing its control was the Sheshko substitution. I think we lost our focal point, and ever since the 45th minute of losing Mount also lost that type of connector, that shuttler that you get, because Mount is, I think, the best shuttler in our squad and connector of quick passing play. I think the second best is probably Kobe, and then any of the tens and going forward from there. So yeah, I really don't think you got to look at who he's got on the subs, man. Like this is a very inexperienced squad. This is not something that I would say that he would replicate this second half game state if he was given the vices to. I think he's just being more mature about his substitutions. So that's what I took out of it.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I don't think he had any other choice, and I'm sick of hearing about it on every other YouTube content creators channel. But while we're talking about other YouTube content creators,
Tabi Somfana.
Tabi Samfana, sorry. Tabi Samfana came in with that super chat, which I want to thank you for that, man. And let's talk about what he had to say here, because it was on the agenda and it is something I want to talk about. And I kind of know how you feel about it, Sean, but I want to hear you say it again, because I think I heard you say it on Andy's stream yesterday. You think that we're going to switch to the 3-4-3 from the next game? If I'm wrong, correct me, dude. I don't want to speak for you.
You're
So
that's what I believe.
Talk to me about what you think of the formation, and then I'll give you my 2 cents to go for it.
So I think that what we saw out of Ruben was a much more practical approach to individual games. And I had mentioned this on Andy's stream before. You would see the way that we set up against Newcastle and the way that we'd set up against Bournemouth. I think that was the first time that we really said, oh, there's a significant in-game system that is something that we haven't seen in games past. That's a typical of a team that is probably in the lower half of the table trying to get as many points as possible. And being that we've had basically our whole experienced veterans in the club, the leaders of the club, and our attack just siphoned during this AFCON period, I don't think it's wrong to say that we could be a mid to low table club if things don't go well. So he's being very realist, very pragmatic. I think setting up in that 4-2-3-1, him personally coaching Dorgu to demonstrate that confidence and resurgence of form that he had in Licha, which was an inverted winger priority, if you would look at his stats before he made that transfer last January. You could see that this is more the same of what he saw from Dorgu. So it's funny how, like, last year we said, oh, he's got his left wing back and we've got the specialist. And then the first game back, he plays him at right wing back. Everyone's like, but this is why. He's seen it. This is a smart guy. This is a world-class manager. These are world-class scouts. If he wanted to put Dorgu at striker, I'm sure they'd let him do it, but there's going to be at least a litany of guys in front of him saying, hey, man, what are you doing? His best positions are here. So I think it was just a very specific game state. I don't think we ever see that type of permutation of formation again, to be honest. When I say that, not four at the back, but that type of like vacant 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, that we really lost all possession in that mid block. We were really playing six at the back, if you think about it, in that second half. Like that was
You're talking about second half, right?
Second half. But first half, I think what we saw, we're gonna have some players coming back. And I think you might even see Licha go back into the midfield one of these next games. But he's practicing the 3-4-3 for a year and a half. This is his bread and butter. This is his This is his religion. Even the Pope couldn't make him change. Only a catastrophic amount of events that happened to his squad. He's never had that happen to him at Sporting. So he's being realist. He's being pragmatic. He's shown a lot of progression and wisdom that I would like to see from a young, up and coming world class manager. So this is all, regardless of how down we might have felt at the end of the game, like this was a good win for the morale and a good win for the project.
Yeah. So the way I saw it was that listen, I got to rewatch the game again, which I did rewatch the first half, but I need to rewatch the second half again because the first half just seemed really good in the way we were playing, and I feel like maybe losing Mason Mount in that second half and losing the way Mason Mount was scanning, covering off the ball. Now, a lot of people have said Mason Mount wasn't playing that well, which I don't understand because there are two games, like there's in possession, there's out of possession, and out of possession, Mason Mount was playing just fine. Um, and I think that when we lost that is when it started to look bad, right? But
Yep.
also Eddie Howe made some adjustments at halftime. He must have, which is why I need to rewatch the second half to see where those adjustments went on before I
Yeah.
speak on them because I don't want to. I don't like saying things until I'm sure. And that's why, guys, that's why I haven't made a tactical breakdown video since, I don't know, 3 games ago. And I'll tell you why, because we've been tinkering with our formation so much that if I spoke now and made a tactical breakdown video, it would be fake. It would, because I need to see more. Like a scientist would need to test the theory more often before I tell you that, oh, here's a new routine or here's a new pattern. I want to make sure it wasn't just in that moment. And then yesterday in the press conference, Ruben himself said tactics weren't even involved in the second half
Yeah.
because we were just defending for our lives or whatever. There were no tactics. There were no patterns, is what he means to say. There's a lot of times where people say the word tactics when they actually mean routine or pattern because that's really what deep tactics are. That's what you practice.
You don't have to tell me about that. If you guys want to see some fireworks, Semeex was on yesterday with myself and Andy. It was a pretty amicable ending, but people come in very, very principled on what they believe a formation, a system, a game shape is. And sometimes it just helps to like establish ground rules to understand what are we really talking about here. Because you can see something in a 4-4-2. I can see something in a 2-2-3-5. It's a matter of how the wingers line up with the midfielders, with the fullbacks, and those are just the little intricacies that, yeah, sure, I could go wax lyrical and speak about it, but like you were saying, Simics, like it really is important to establish those ground rules.
So, in my opinion, with just taking a little bit of alternate view from yourself and from Thabisamfana, am I saying that right? Thabisamfana.
Mm.
I don't want to mess it up, man. In my opinion, I feel like he needs to run this test a couple of more times, like a scientist would have to run a test a couple of times. So I don't see us going back to the 3-4-3 just yet. I think that there were maybe enough positives to take out of that first half to go, okay, there are some positives there. When did it turn negative? Because it turned negative in the second half. What made it turn negative? That's his job to figure out. It's my hobby to try and figure out and then see if you can alter that in a way because I don't think it's healthy to have the team go back and forth. And then I had Ayun. I don't know if you guys were with me in the most post-match live yesterday. Ayun called in and Ayun said, Semeex, isn't it harder now to convince players to change from a system back to the old system when this system got us our second clean sheet? Isn't it harder to convince players that, like, hey, we're not going to play with two central defensive midfielders in the next game, even though that actually helped get us a clean sheet in the last game? And you have to have the players buy in. We all know that, right? So is this going to cause a buy-in issue if you wanted to switch back to the 3-4-3? What do you think, Sean? I didn't know how to answer that question yesterday.
No, I definitely think so. Usually how seasons progresses, you have early contenders emerge within the first 10 Premier League games. And the second 10 Premier League games, you have players and teams that really fall off. And then really after Christmas, first of the year, whoever stays on top of the league, that has a pretty good 80-90% chance of winning the league from there on out. The one thing that you could say was promising for Ruben during these first, I'm counting in my head, how many weeks have we gone on now? 16, 17? Is that the underlying statistics of creativity and attack were so apparently different than what we've seen from the defense standpoint. So sometimes when you're always on the attack and your defenders can be lulled into a sense of just comfort and security, they make individual errors that might not be attributed to the system, but individual errors that cause breakdowns in confidence, in cohesion, and ability to perform the attacking metrics because there's more pressure now that you've let some goals through. So another reason why I believe that this game was good for the team was the fact of the matter that we were able to develop connections between players that have either been outside of the squad, returning from injury, going inside the squad, in Heaven and Licha. And I think we've established that no matter what we do, three at the back, four at the back, we need those two in there. I think Yoro needs to watch the game from the bench. And when Delict comes back, when Maguire even comes back, I would like to see at least Licha and Heaven on the pitch at all times. Those guys are the most prototypical Amorim center backs that you're going to get in a three at the back. And then even at the four at the back, you just saw the confidence that Licha gave. You put Yoro next to Heaven or you put Fredrickson as well, they're going to have not that same amount of confidence to pull out that type of clean sheet, especially when they're against the Kosh, like what we saw Newcastle doing. But to be honest, Newcastle could have had 10 hours. I don't think they would have scored. That was a shocking team. But that could have been nullified due to the fact that Ugarte was emboldened, man. Ugarte looked great. Dorgu had that liberty to go from a different flank. Totally outcoached, outclassed Eddie Howe, who was just kind of vibing it, saying, hey, we're just going to rock stock into smoking barrels these guys and just shock them. No, physicality was not an issue at all that game. That's in the pregame. I thought that we were going to either draw, maybe lose this game because I thought there was such a gulf in physicality, and Amorim completely nullified that with all of this system talk for at the back. So that's where I say, you know what, this is a world-class manager.
100% agree with you in the physicality aspect because before the game, that's the biggest thing I worried about. My pre-show in the watch along, I was telling everybody like, hey man, we're going to lose the physical battle, so we need to win the mentality battle. And we did not lose the physical battle. We won a lot of duels in that game. We just couldn't keep the ball. Jarvis is in the chat, and Jarvis, I always like what Jarvis has to say when it comes to tactics, so let's read this one out loud. Mount was pivotal in his movement, caused constant problems for the Newcastle midfield. They really struggled to pick him up when he drifted from that second striker role into the space behind their midfield. I agree. I agree that Mount was one of the best position takers in the first half, if you will. Yeah. He might not have been the most skillful player in the first half, but smart play and smart movement and smart positioning is so key in modern day football. And all you have to do from there is just don't make mistakes. You don't have to be the best player in the world. You don't have to dribble like Ronaldinho. Just don't make mistakes. And the hard part is just being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And that's what Mount was doing so well in that first half. And I think that's what Fletcher needs to learn to do if he's going to be someone who's going to sub in for a player like Mount.
I think it was tough on Fletcher, though.
Right?
I just want to say it's tough on him. He wasn't.
He never thought. I bet he didn't dream he was going to start the second half, right? Like,
and you know what? God bless kids. They're going to be able to. You give them the opportunity. They're going to surprise you. They're going to be able to. There's this kind of like there's this like blanket that you give kids when it comes to like they get protected when they first get into the team. You kind of accept a little bit of naivety and being able to make mistakes. But I think okay. We did lose our poise and control in the midfield, but we did also, I think it's more of what we lost getting subbed off than what was brought on. I think he was just kind of occupying lanes, making sure that zonally that they didn't have those overlapping little triangle runs that they kept doing, and just kind of, he was good to fortify that six at the back, which is what it felt like. But no, yeah. I mean, it was good. I want to ask you. I don't mean to take away from the agenda a little bit, but
no, go for it.
What were your thoughts on Cunha? Because Rishi and I were talking about him in the early hours, and Rishi has a really good take on what he thinks about Cunha for this season.
Rishi was in the chat. Rishi, if you're here, man, feel free to call in and have you, say your take yourself. But go ahead, Sean. Go
Yeah.
ahead. He might have left.
Yeah. So I think Cunha was very hard done by in that second half. I think switching to that, in my eyes, what I saw was kind of like a 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1, where you would still have the width being provided by Dorgu sometimes on the runs, but it was just such a like transitional phase. We were really, I mean, if you look at the second half statistics, I believe they had like 70% possession, like very atypical of us this year at least. Um, I didn't like him on the left hand side because I think I love seeing him carry the ball and have that ball
Mm-hmm.
progression and skin the man. And he did that several times. I still think he had a decent game,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got to show a little bit more talismanic like edge to him. He's got to get that goal assist. He's got to really take this team by the scruff of its neck during this AFCON period because I worry that otherwise he's just going to become a passenger for the rest of the season. And once Ahmad comes back, once Mbumo comes back, maybe you get a little bit more out of Sheshko because I think Sheshko actually provided a lot of focal point in the attack, regardless if we weren't able to really get him at the end of it. I think that Cunha is going to be kind of a no man's land player. Still quality, still got a lot of that Premier League experience that you need. I mean, I love the guy, but I have to see him in a more central role. And maybe that's due to he's not releasing it quick enough. Maybe he's thinking too desperately about wanting to get on the score tally. So I want to hear your opinion on how Cunha operated in that game.
Cunha, people think I said a lot of negative things about Cunha yesterday, and what they need to understand is like Cunha is, I think, my favorite player on the team. So when I say negative things about any player, it's kind of the same at my job. If I say something negative to a player, it doesn't mean I don't like the player. It means that let me let Rishi in. Rishi's here so he can hear what I'm saying. Rishi, what's up,
Look at
man?
that
Thank you
beautiful
for
man.
joining us. How are you?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let me finish what I was saying about Cunha, and then I want to hear your thoughts, okay? So I was saying Cunha is my favorite player. Cunha is the most skillful player, and I do say some negative things about Cunha, like yesterday, but that has nothing to do with what I think about Cunha. It has nothing to do. It's the same thing I do at work when I say negative things about a player. It's only because like I want to see a little bit more. But let me explain exactly, because Shant asked me where do I stand on Cunha or something of that nature, or where do I think this is going. If I could just remember the series, it's a championship series in the NBA when Michael Jordan and the Bulls were playing, and it was during the run of the first three-peat, if you will. So I think we're talking about 19, not the one against the Lakers, the second one against, I believe it was the Trailblazers the second time around. And I
The
know I'm
the Pacers,
Or
right?
the Pistons. It was Pistons.
no, that's
The
not.
bad
They
The
can't
boys,
play
no?
Pistons,
the
the
Pistons.
Pistons, right?
They can't
It
play the
wasn't the bad
Pistons
boys.
in the championship, guys. Like this is a
Oh,
championship
the
series.
Eastern Conference. Oh, I thought you meant like. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So
thinking from Lakers too. Yeah, though.
anyway, so Michael Jordan was having issues. I think they lost the first game, and he was nervous about it. He talked to Phil Jackson and he talked to his father, and they both told him that like Michael, sometimes you have to help your teammates be better. Okay, sometimes you can't just complain about your teammates. You have to help them be better. And I think Cunha is trying too much to be so good that he's not helping his teammates be better. And I really think that once he learns that skill, because there are times where you just go, man, don't shoot that. Give it to this guy and help him get in a better position to cross the ball. If you sometimes you can lead a guy with a pass, even if he's in a bad position, you could put the pass in a position where you force him to run to the right position to put that cross in behind the line. And Cunha has that skill set to be able to hold on to the ball, dribble past one or two, and then feed a person, feed a teammate, and either get the return pass or that teammate can find somebody else. There are these moments that sometimes I watch guys and I can see like two more passes and this is a fantastic opportunity, but Cunha either doesn't release the ball or he releases the ball a little bit late, like one touch too late, where that opportunity, that window closes. But I'm telling you right now that even though I'm saying something negative, Cunha is the only player that can actually do that for us. So I mean that because Michael Jordan is the only player who can dribble, get people to come to him, and now you have a wide open John Paxson to hit a 3-pointer. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't for Michael, John wouldn't be wide open. Does that make sense? That's where
Yeah.
I go with it. That's my judgment of Cunha. He has to learn how to not only like he's already good. He has to learn how to make his teammates better, and then he would be a great player. He would be a killer.
Rishi, what are your thoughts? How do you think Cunha's done this year? Did you think this game was more the same, or going forward, do you think there's a little bit more for him to kind of build upon?
Uh, okay. Well, regarding this game, I'll be honest. I only saw up to the goal. I saw the first 25 minutes. I didn't really have the time to watch everything back. I do intend to watch it probably tomorrow or day after, maybe. Regarding Cunha, well, you guys have pretty much covered what we've been saying all along. Here's something which I don't think people have said enough, probably recognized it, but not said enough. Cunha is the only player on this team and one of the very few, I don't think there are even five such players in the Premier League who can make a difference in each third of the pitch. Cunha is
Right.
probably the only player on our team, and probably there are five like that. I don't know off the top of my mind, but if you write those names down, Cunha is definitely there.
Yep.
I think if I'm to play devil's advocate, because Shant and I had this conversation offline just a while back, and both of us said for me, right, like we agreed that he needs to come with the end product. He needs to deliver. He needs to have at least 10 goals and 5 or 6 assists or 7 assists throughout the season. So that means if he's and he needs to play at least 80% of the games because he's also a little bit injury prone. Just the way he absorbs a lot of hits on the pitch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just the way he plays.
yeah,
So my estimate is he's going to be available for throughout his 5-year contract. He's going to be available for around 80% of the games, and he'll play probably 85 to 90 minutes in all of them. So this season, let's say we play 5 games of the FA Cup, that gets us to like 43, 44 games. Maybe 80% is probably 35, 36 games. If he gets me 15 to 18 goal contributions, that is a good, successful freshman season for him at United. Along with this, he needs to win us 3 games on his own. And by on his own, I mean when no one has any clue what's going on, he produces a moment of inspiration, unlocks the defense with a killer pass. He's present all over the pitch, or maybe he scores the winning goal or whatever it is, but he wins the game for us, right? He's a difference maker. That's what he's been signed to do. And Shant agreed with all 3 points. He said, yeah, absolutely. He has to produce these real numbers. Like he has to prove that he's a difference maker. Now, having said these things, I also did say that for the price that we've got him for, I think it is a steal. Because if you take these points, right, you keep in mind these things that he makes a difference all three parts of the pitch. He can drive an entire team forward. And Semeex, just to I've what you said, right? I've said all those things about Cunha, but just if I'm playing devil's advocate and to take Cunha's side for a minute, a lot of the times when he is driving ahead with the ball, right, there is no obvious option for him to pass to. Like yesterday, I saw he was the second furthest high up player for United, and he was driving on the right, but he drove so fast that there was no obvious option for him to, pass the ball or lay the ball off to another player. And this is just the first 25 minutes, mind you. I don't know how he played in the rest of the game. But I have seen that there are these obvious glaring points where he should release the ball like 2 touches before he does, and he gets dispossessed. But that's maybe 60% of the times. Like 40% of the times, there is no option for him. His job in those situations is just
Yeah.
to drive the ball as far as possible. So that particular trait of Cunha might not be as bad as we think he is. I know Andy
Yeah.
made a members video about this, and he was right at the time that he made it. But in the last 2 or 3 games, his influence has increased. Like it's
Yeah.
very promising to me that in the last 3 games, he scored 2 goals. He could have had a third in the Villa game. And then even yesterday, I believe he played pretty well, like from what I hear about the rest of the game. So I think 62 million for him is a brilliant price. I'm willing to give him 1 season.
Yep.
Next season, I'm not even joking. United is the most high pressure environment in world football. because the expectations are too much and we have not delivered anything. Next season, he's on fraud watch. And honestly, even if this is a player at United who puts in a player of the year performance and next season he does not do anything, he's still on fraud watch, right?
Yep.
Like this is the club where even a Ballon d'Or winner is held to the highest standards and we don't allow him to go lax.
Yep.
So for me, this is a betting in season. But like Cunha is the player who will show me how serious this board is. Let me tell you that way. Because they've made him one of his highest paid players. They've spent 62 million pounds on him. And they said, we are going to give you 2 years. So I want to see how Cunha performs at the end of 2 years. If he's underwhelming, does this board have the balls to get rid of him? Offload him. That's the litmus
No,
test for me. So, yeah.
no, I'm of the opinion that he's going to come good. I mean, but then again, you're right. Like, we still, he might not come good, right? Like, he might not come good, then we have to do something about it. Yeah, you're completely right there. But I'm of the opinion that, like, he does the hard stuff really well. Now someone just needs to go, hey man, after you do this, you're missing the easy stuff. You know what I mean? You did the hard thing. You found space. That's the hardest thing. But once you found space, you robbed yourself of that space because you didn't pass the ball and move the opponent, and then you go run into new space. You know, it's you know who was really good at it? When you look at Messi, he learned it from Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho used to use his teammates just to get the ball back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't use his teammates because he. I feel like Cunha feels like when he lets go of the ball, he's not going to get it back, and that's got to go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That feeling has to go away. It's okay to let go of the ball, take 3 steps into a different position, and then you'll get the ball back. And if you don't get it back, go teach your teammate what your mentality is in training, so that your teammate knows, oh, you wanted the ball back, like we need to play together or whatever. That's what chemistry is, right? Knowing what each other want. That's what chemistry is. And I think once he gets some chemistry with 1 or 2 players, I think someone said it in the chat earlier that Cunha plays better when Mbumo's playing with him. And maybe that's true. I need to pay attention to that more. I'm not going to act like I know. But maybe that is true. But obviously some players play better. I think the chemistry yesterday between Dorgu and Delo is proof that players play better when they have someone behind them or next to them that they understand and they feed off each other, right? And that's what I think Cunha needs to develop with more players, and even more players than Dorgu. And why do I say that? Because Cunha can be at any side of the pitch, just like Ronaldinho or Messi could be anywhere. So those kind of players need to have chemistry with everyone, right? Because I could be playing next to you. 5 minutes later, I'm playing next to somebody else.
Semeex, I want to bring up 2 things. I think Cunha looked good in the first half, and I think it's because of what you said about that chemistry that he has with Mount. Mount is a player that really benefits from having other smart players around him. He raises their floor, their IQ, and he really is the lubricant to the final third. I love Mount for that reason. I think when Mount came off, we saw. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I agree, and I just want to add to that. I actually want to add to your point. I think that also when Cunha sees Mount, he trusts that Mount is going to release the ball in one touch.
That's the type of player that he needs. Now he needs to have that same type of assurance that a Sheshko will return it back to him if the best choice is to go back to him. He needs to have that same assurance that Mbumo or Ahmad. I think he has more trust in Ahmad because Ahmad's been very good for releasing. But then second point, so to Rishi's point with regards to how he's on fraud watch for year 2, I think we need to hold by Barada's standards 2 years, and then if you haven't shown that, you can see the door. But remember, this is a player that has been at the edge in the just very fringe of squads, from being in the Atleti squad, from being going to Wolves, then from going to Wolves, come back to United. So these are 2 different estimations of like tiers of clubs. When he got that move to Atleti, he thought he was going to be playing in a very free-forming role. That's not what you get with Simeone. Simeone had him very structured and very quickly was able to then just say, you know what, this guy, I think, who was it? It was Diego Costa said of his time in the Brazilian national team, this guy is a magician. You need to give him the space to be himself and express himself. So even though I was a little disappointed, so to say, of the game state of the second half due to the point preservation, I think it does wonders for his confidence of saying, I'm the man. I need to remember what it feels like to be the man. And being the man involves getting the rest of the team involved, making them, just like your Michael Jordan analogy, making them the best versions of themselves so that we can get our easiest and most productive outcomes. Because I'm just going to be honest, we don't create the best chances in a 4 at the back system. This 3 at the back system that Amorim was doing, forget all the noise and everything. The underlying stats show that is our most creative outlet. We just need better defense. So a good 4 at the back might be able to create that type of chemistry between our defenders too. So that's my thoughts.
But I think to summarize what you just said, you're basically saying the 3 at the back system is going to be better for us as long as we have 2 midfielders who play like 3 midfielders. I mean, think about it. That's basically what we're saying, right? Like, out of possession, the reason why the 4-2-3-1 works so well is because we had 3 midfielders.
Yep.
The 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1, as I like to call it, because that's what it really is. The 3-4-2-1 isn't working so well out of possession because we have 2 midfielders who don't play like 3 midfielders. We need 2 midfielders who have the legs and the physicality to play like 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
Correct? I mean, that's really what we're saying.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah,
and I think Ugarte as well. He excelled with that extra man because free run, hashtag free run in the chat. He was trying to say that, like, I love that guy now, by the way. And go watch that last live stream on Footy with an Edge.
If you guys want to see Heat,
oh my
go
God,
watch
dude.
Footy with an Edge.
I didn't have my camera on because, as you could tell, I'm a little bit nasally, whatever.
I think it was an hour into the show. If you want to like timestamp, I'm timestamping it for you. Go at least an hour into the show. And
even Rishi, dude. Rishi was being
on,
the mediator.
The
oh my God. But so you're saying like, oh, well, 3-4-3. We don't play, or we do play a 3-4-3 with a holding midfielder. We just have players that aren't good at being holding midfielders. I agree with him. Ugarte is not a holding midfielder. He's not a tempo setter. He's not somebody that's going to be the metronome that links the defense to the middle phase and the attack. He excelled as a shuttler, and we saw more confidence in him to actually beat his man, which I was like, dude, where did you didn't show this for us in the first half of the season. So that's what that confidence really does. It emboldens players to then demonstrate. I remember even last year or in the last 10 Hog season, we saw he was trying to improve his passing range. He was fizzling out some so it was going out wide, but at least he had the confidence to try something like that. And that's where the shots from outside the box came from. And that's where you saw, okay, maybe there's something to this guy. Long term, do I think he still stays in the squad? No, Barada, please. 2 years. Come on, man. You said it. But so that's where I'm kind of at with Ugarte. I think Ruben's figuring out, okay, these players have some positional familiarity. Dorgu has it on the right wing. Ugarte likes to be that type of terrier in the midfield, just nip at everyone's heels, just cause chaos, be a shuttler in that sense. And those 2 guys really, I think, transformed the way that we play, aside from also our defensive solidity. That was fantastic. So I don't have an issue with how the game was played. I really don't. You're going to be hard-pressed to find me to say who on that bench would really have confidence enough to dictate that game state, especially in the second half, where we would be not up against it. So that was my takeaways from the game.
Are there any players in the squad right now that you got? This is a subject I wanted to bring up. Are there any players in the squad right now that you worry about? That we're not talking about Ugarte. I'm not talking about Ugarte because we already talked about his worries, and we already talked about Cunha. Are there any other players who get a lot of playing time in the squad right now that you guys are worried about? Because I have one guy in mind. I want to see if you guys agree.
Risha, do you want to say mine? Because you know who it is. Oh, you're on mute.
You might be on mute, yeah.
Yeah, Sean, I said go for it.
Yeah, Yoro. I think that guy's got to be on the fringe of the squad.
That's exactly who I was talking about. Yeah. That's exactly what I was talking about. I think it showed yesterday, too, when he came in the game, that he's just not a good right-sided center back, like a right back or whatever. Ray, by the way, I know you're in the lobby. I'm going to let you in a little bit. We're going to let everybody in. But yeah, Yoro worries me right now. I think Yoro needs to put his head down and get to work and see whatever it's. I think it's a mentality issue. I do not think it's a skill issue. It's hard to talk about players without everybody who's listening to think I'm saying something super negative. No, I'm just saying at this moment, I think he's got a little bit of a mentality issue, and I think it started. Gosh, I don't remember the game, but I think it was 5 or 6 games ago when Ruben pulled him out early and put him on the bench, and then you could see him on the bench shaking his head, being very angry, gesturing, not angry with Ruben, but angry with himself because he
Yeah.
wasn't playing good. And ever since then, actually, it's just been going downhill for him.
Mm.
So I hope he gets it back because I like the player a lot. I think there's a lot of like there's a bright future there, right? But let's see how I don't want this run of bad games to go for long. You guys agree with me? It's a mentality issue, or what do we think? Or is it just a positional issue that he's just not used to? See, a lot of people want to say it's Ruben formation. That's the problem. And I think the mistakes are a little more fundamental. I don't think it has to do with.
I think if you had told me one of these center backs was worth 1 million pounds and the other one was nearly worth 50, I'd 100% point at Aiden Heaven being worth 50 and you're at 1. So
By the way, Imran, I can't say that. XALMIN, the guy whose chat I just put on,
Imran.
Euros 19, chill.
Imran.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying, man. Like,
No,
I
we're
am
so
saying that, dude, we're not saying anything negative, bro. Like, that's what
I'm not
trying
saying
to tell
get him out the club either, by the way. And I think
it's a
for the
confidence
for the
thing.
purpose of spirited debate, we need to be very descriptive with our analysis, not be prescriptive, because the kid's got way more years than anyone else on the squad. It's going to be him, Mainu. It's going to be a lot of players that have a lot of game to show. So this is something of which what we've seen. And I think the benefit of being able to analyze things with an objective lens is to say who's performing well, who's not performing well, and then kind of measure it. Because some narratives you may believe this kid, everyone's calling him the next Rio. He's not that right now. And I think that's all this is elucidating to us, that from a physical stature standpoint, I think Rio was much bigger at his age than what Yoro is right now in terms of body mass and what he showed at West Ham coming into United. But then beyond that, from a body positioning standpoint, you're getting a little bit of this more of the same of what you've seen with Casemiro as well in that holding
Yeah.
position, where he doesn't feel too comfortable at the right center back, or even when we've seen him at right back, he allows way too much space for the defender to go in. Doesn't really have that biting edge to kind of Vidic to tackle and just get in with that aggressiveness, which is needed because he's got the ball playing ability. You cannot teach that. His ball playing ability and his ability to maraud is prototypically what I want in a Ruben Amorim center back. But for him to have less of a responsibility last year going into now this year, where it's like, okay, we're going to give you a more lion's share of the minutes and you're going to have to not F it up. He's had a couple Soleimana type moments this season that I would have hoped would have been bedded out by now. So that's why I think he needs to observe the game from the bench a little bit, see how De Ligt comes in as a cover center back. It says the ball or the man, neither both. Someone's going to get clattered. He's got to see Licha come in, have that confidence. Got to see Heaven, someone his colleague, his compatriot, or not compatriot, he's English.
Yeah.
Somebody of his similar stature and similar age group, how he approaches the game. Because I think the way that Heaven's taken on this type of philosophy and mentality is something more akin to the English football structure, saying that, hey, you don't really have that much time. And even with Heaven's complacency on the ball and just very, very he's so cultured, the way that he drops the shoulder and turns, the type of confidence that takes for a guy at 19 years old. It's not that Yoro is bad. It's Yoro is not ready, and I'm more impressed by what Heaven's shown. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, Rishi, go. You have anything to add to that?
I'm just looking at some of the recent comments here. Quite a few people saying that, step off of Yoro, he's just
Yeah,
19,
it's
don't
hard. It's
slag our
hard to
young
talk
players.
about people, right? Because they think I'm being
Yeah,
super negative. Dude, guys, I want him
yeah.
to come back in. He's
And I'll take the brunt, by the way.
Come
Semeex
on,
is
man.
not the
Like-
one. I've been very early on this. I would say prior to actually having the statistical backing, I had more of that eye test where I gained no. I'm not a right person. I don't care about if my opinion's right. If somebody shows me difference, then God bless them. This is United we're talking about. I want every player to do well. But I just
And I
saw a
think
little
Euro's
bit of
going to
that.
be one of our best center backs moving
Probably,
forward. Like
probably. You give this guy 2 years
no-
and better center backs around him, I think that's good. But in that time where Delict's in and out sometimes, Maguire kind of is at, is he good? He's only really low block.
be
He's
gone
got the
in the
progress.
summer. He'll be gone
Yeah,
in the
he'll
summer.
be
I don't
gone.
think he's
He'll
there
be
yet.
gone.
Yeah.
So then Licha not being in, I think Licha's impact. Remember that live stream we had about predicting like, oh, who's gonna take that Matty Cash side? I'm like, guys, I want Licha. I think he's got that aggressiveness to just kind of like get it into him. Don't even try it. Everyone's like, oh, dude, no, just put Shaw there. I think Licha is one of the most versatile players in this formation. I think he gets it. He understands the intensity needed, and that's infectious for a squad, for a captain to really set that tone. So I think those little intangibles are what are being shown that Yoro still hasn't developed yet. He's got the technicality, he's got the IQ. We know he's a smart kid. We can tell. It's just there's a little bit of mind-body connection that's missing. And with all that pressure, when you're one of the wide center backs, you're going to be really left out if you don't make the right decision and either get that foul, stop the play, because otherwise all the chances created in the world doesn't matter if you just got a leaky faucet in the back.
Rishi, you want to say anything about the Euro thing, or you want to be on the safe side and not get bad comments?
No. No. I have some pretty strong opinions. I think people who've seen me on Footy with an Edge know that I don't hold back on my opinions.
No.
Uh, Let me first get the disclaimer out regarding Euro so that people don't come at me again in the comments. I th- I think I think his problem is not of ability because I don't believe that he has a problem at right center back. I don't think that's correct. It's correct to say that. Uh, I believe that as a center back, you're doing two things. You're defending space laterally or vertically, or you're defending the man. You're putting a tackle in, right? You're doing one of those two things. Whether you're playing in center back in a back four or you're playing right center back in a back three, those are the only few things you have to do. He failed to do that against Morgan Rogers. It cost us a goal. It cost us two goals, in fact. But it's okay. He's a young center back. He'll learn. Now, regarding whether he deserves that criticism or not, he's only 20. Guys, remember he was 18 years old when he was signed for 50 million pounds and he was offered a wage of 115,000 pounds, rising up to 145,000 pounds. When a player accepts a wage like that, he accepts that there is a certain responsibility along with it, right? We give him the leeway as fans that he's 18, 19, and he's not 19 now, he's 20. In fact, Heaven doesn't turn 20 till September of next year. Uh, Euro is already 20, right? When you accept a transfer like that, when you accept a pay packet like that, you accept the pressure that comes along with it. So it is up to us to be fair with him. I think we are being fair with him. We are not being unfair with him,
I'm
right? We are
treating
not
him like
like
a man,
laying
right?
shit on him.
We're treating him
Exactly,
like a man.
exactly, and he'll appreciate that, right? And regarding this other aspect of people saying that we shouldn't be pitting one player against the other, guys, the very nature of Premier League football, professional football, and the
Any
dynamics of
sport,
a squad is
any
pitting them
sport.
against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, the very nature of sport itself, they are being pitted against each other. There are
It's
six center backs.
competition.
Someday there are
That's
three
the
who start.
meaning of competition, right? That's the
Yeah,
meaning
you
of
think you
competition.
think Euro exactly. You think Euro isn't looking at what Heaven's doing in training and wondering, dude, what is he doing better than me that the manager's picking him for every game and he's become the main
Yeah.
man at 19? What how can I improve more? And these guys didn't get to the level of the very pinnacle of professional sports by not looking to improve constantly, right? So now if you have certain big YouTubers or whoever you look at who are constantly negative and you can make them out, right? I guess the reason that you've come to a community like Semeex's or James's or Andy's, the reason you guys go there is because they are more sane than the others, right? Now with sanity doesn't mean just pure positivity, right? That is insanity. Only positivity is insanity. With sanity comes some measured level of criticism as well. And that's
God
all these
bless you.
people are
Thank you
offering.
so much.
Now,
Thank you so much, Rishi,
yeah,
because that's exactly right. Because I think you guys sometimes people go to all these negative, like I don't know, just really bad take, YouTube channels, and then they think when I say something negative that I'm like them. Please don't compare me to them. I'm trying to be like productive, if you will. You know what I'm saying? These are like criticisms that are not about destroying someone. These are criticisms to help lift someone or talk about how do we get better. And you can't just, like Rishi said, if I was just sitting here like everything's good all the time,
Yeah.
that's just as crazy as everything's
Yeah.
bad all the time.
Yep.
Okay? Like polar opinions are craziness. I'm more central.
Yeah.
At least I try to be.
Well, I
Thank
think
you.
from a fan's perspective, I'm so appreciative that we have yourself, Semeex, Rishi, yourself and your brother, Footy with an Edge community, James, and just a forum that has been so desperately lacking for the last 2-3 years at least, when we've had this proliferation of fan channels turned into media aggregators where you have people that are really a lot of the real deep cuts that you would find on X or forums like Red Cafe, Republic Man, Cunha, etc. In yesteryear, you wouldn't find that type of analysis. And the fact that content is being put out on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, live streams, the level of quality of the live streams that you guys are putting out, as a fan, that's what compels me to help out you guys in every way that I can, because I think it's a public benefit that we're doing for all Manchester United fans, being able to speak like this. And if you have an opinion that you think someone is too harsh on any of this, I invite you to come on any of these guys' stream. That's how I came on here. I just said a couple messages. They didn't know who the hell Sean was. Sean doesn't have any viewers or subs, you know? But
You're welcome. You're welcome unless your name is Ron. Is that what you want to say, Sean?
God damn it, dude. That was my punchline. I said, I invite anyone except Roan. No, but it's good. Even a guy that came off very inflammatory, I think at the end of the day, we realize we have a lot more in common than we all think. So it's being able to have a productive conversation, especially we had things about Bruno in, Bruno out. We had things about transfer strategy. A lot of people can view it pessimistically. A lot of people can view it optimistically. And it's good for us to at least measure each other in logic, rationale, and also a little bit of feeling. Because listen, this is sport, guys. We're all going to have that.
This is, I think, the perfect segue to letting Ray into the show. Let's let Ray have a couple of minutes to express what he's thinking, and then we're going to log off here, guys. I want to log off on time because I don't want to miss Footy with an Edge today. I keep running long. That's why I started early today, because I don't want to run long. And we're all going to go to Footy with an Edge, and we're going to go over there and continue this conversation. So let's let Ray in to have a couple of minutes.
Semeex, I'm going to hop off now.
Yeah, go for it. I'll see you soon, Rishi, over there.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Take care, guys.
See you.
Okay, let's let Ray in. Ray, what's up? Wait, are you Nightwing?
Always
You're
positive.
Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was you waiting, bro. Like, I didn't. I was like, okay, some guy named Ray is waiting.
Yeah.
All right,
No worries, man.
Ray. If anybody wasn't here yesterday, let me just set the backstory. Ray was extremely angry yesterday after the game, and I had to talk to him and let him know, like,
yeah, I
need to
saw.
cheer
I was
up.
like,
I mean,
like, dude, this community is
we
just
won
getting
the
way too
game.
toxic. Just
Toxic.
we need Semeex to just be the voice of reason, just
yeah,
calmness.
I tried to talk him off the ledge. I was like, bro, I hope you don't understand it's Boxing Day and we just won. I don't know why you're being angry. But today he looks a lot happier, so I'll let him talk. Go ahead.
For
Go
sure.
ahead, Ray.
So much happier. So much happier. How's your 24 hours been, Semeex? Because remember, 24 hours of happiness,
Bro,
and then
you do, like, the thing that you guys need to understand, that it's hard to explain, but like my job is literally to always be better, right? Like always make someone better. So so it's like ingrained in me. I've been doing this for 12 years, not YouTube. I've been doing my job for 12 years.
Yeah.
And it is hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes I have to remind myself not to do it in the moment and to wait, but it's hard because it's ingrained. I'm like, okay, this could be better. That could be better. But yeah, man, Ray actually, the opposite happened, guys. If anybody wasn't here yesterday, it was me that was being too critical, and Ray was talking me off the ledge. So Ray, man, tell me about today's conversations, what you heard so far. What do you got to add?
I think Rishi was calling me toxic positivity. I think that was
don't be a baby. That's not what he was saying, right? Listen, I'm with the powder blue brigade. I missed the memo, guys. What the heck? I feel like a odd man out. No, what do you think?
I think we have. So I'll put my positive spin on it. You guys were talking about Yoro and Heaven, and we have to understand that these are young guys. Yoro played pretty decently until he gave up that penalty, and then I think mentally kind of went away from it. Definitely when he went against Rodgers, those were two bad mistakes that led to those two goals.
Which penalty was that, Ray?
I can't remember. I think it's the same game where Ruben took him off and he was like shaking his head, but he gave up a penalty a few games ago. Didn't he? At least like 5 games ago.
I'm because I remember that he made a rash decision. But sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I'll find it. But I remember him giving up a penalty and then he was negative. He's been bad. But I think we have a good positive thing here where we have Heaven, who's pretty decent. Licha's coming back. Shaw is actually pretty good at that left side. The question I have, and you guys are more knowledgeable about football than I am, is if we stay back 4 or if we move back to the back 3 and De Ligt is healthy again, like fully healthy, not we're bringing him back in slowly type of thing. If we have all of those guys healthy and able to play, who gets the start based on, let's say everyone's at top form? Because Heaven's at top form right now. I think Licha's pretty decent. But Shaw's actually been probably our best defender all year, consistency.
It's a great question. It's a great question. But real quick, before we talk about that question, Sean, can you tell me, someone's saying in the chat that my mic seems suppressed.
It sounds fine to me, and I was listening to it. So
it actually does go down. Weirdly, when you're by yourself.
Oh, is it attenuate? Is it attenuating when other people?
Oh, yeah, when other people talk and then he goes up next, it's very low. That was how it was on YouTube.
Like right now, your levels are higher than mine. Go ahead and talk. Ray,
Check.
Say anything.
Yeah, I'm very positive.
So, guys, let me know in the chat if you can hear me fine or if there's something wrong. Like Semeex's functional mic is far away off camera. The one you see is just a prop. No, man.
And actually, I just wanted this kid named Martin. I think it was actually a benefit that I didn't remember Yoro's Mateta penalty because that would give me less content for me to remember about how he's been shit in the bed. But anyways, so back to the De Ligt and Yoro. What do you think? So in a 3-back, is that what you're wondering?
In a 3-back, Ray, or in what we did yesterday?
Let's do both. Let's do 3-back first, and then.
Cool.
In a 3-back with De Ligt back.
Because he's played right center back a couple of times with Maguire in the middle. So do you keep Heaven in the middle, put him in right center back?
I'm gonna go with what our manager said in the post game yesterday, and he said that as long as Heaven keeps playing the way he's playing, it's going to be really hard for someone to take his spot. So I'm picking Heaven. I can't not pick Licha. So those two right there for me are like irreplaceable. Dude, I'm stuck between Shaw, De Ligt, and Yoro. And right now, I'd have to say Yoro would probably have to sit on the bench for a little while, but he can definitely earn his place back when the opportunity opens. But I'm stuck between Shaw and De Ligt, but not because Shaw did anything wrong, only because I'm thinking I need some height in there.
And just a caveat, I don't believe Yoro shouldn't play. I just think he shouldn't start right now. I think he's much better.
Yeah,
in
that's
a
what
shorter...
we're saying.
That's all we're saying. I'm not saying Yoro. I love the kid. I think he's got that Rolls Royce in him that he could become. Just right now, it's too much pressure for him based on his temperament and personality. But even on top of that,
people are still saying that I sound lower. By the way.
Okay, so why don't you raise up in Riverside? Can you?
Riverside, I've got pinned all the way to the top.
Okay, why don't you just do the XOR knob? Why don't you do that, and I'll tell you when it's peaking.
When it starts to peak?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just turned it up a little bit. Is that better?
It sounds good on me. What about you guys? Guys in the chat. We're doing live tech support.
Or does it sound like I'm peaking? Like, is it peaking?
It sounds
means
fine
like it
on our end. Yeah. It sounds fine on our end.
Crackling, or does it sound fine when I speak?
Ray, what do you think? Does he sound? He sounds good, right?
He sounds fine on my end now.
Yeah, on our end, we're
crazy.
Fine.
Yeah, but I notice it too. Like when I go rewatch my lives, I'm like, why is my mic all the way down? Like it takes control of my thing and lowers.
Maybe there's some Windows setting with the recording devices that's like it takes control. Much better. Okay, we're good. We already got one. All right, thank you, Jean.
Ayush wants me to raise my bass. Oh, Ayush, that's my voice, bro. I'm waiting to go through puberty, buddy.
Maybe I think there's like a setting in Riverside that attenuates. I think that's what's going on.
Okay, so Ray, talk to me about what formation you want to see in the future, and then we're gonna wrap up and go to footy with an edge. What formation do you want to see? Me and Sean were talking about it. Sean thinks we need to go back to the 3-4-3. I'm more of the opinion that I need to see this a couple more times before I decide. I also think that if we're gonna go back to the 3-4-3, we need to get him 2 midfielders that can play like 3 midfielders. Because I don't want to see 4-4 games against Bournemouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
so Ray.
I think I like Ruben, so I'm gonna go with what he wants to do, and I think that's gonna be the three in the back. So I think once AFCON's over, he's probably gonna go back to that. And
So
I think
if you say that, and if Sean says that, if you guys are saying, I like Ruben, I trust him, I want to go back to 3 in the back, that means that we got to put all the onus on the ownership and the board.
Yeah.
it's always
they
on
need to
them.
give
It's
him-
always
Always
been on
has
them,
been.
though.
Always
Yeah,
has
but
been.
people take it off them, man. It pisses me off, and I
No.
agree with you guys. Like I'm on your side of this argument.
We had so Semeex, remember in our debrief, and we talked about, in my opinion, what I think has gone on in the boardroom, and I'd like to see what you think personally, because we could be at odds. I think the biggest issue last year was the system wasn't creating enough chances and goals. So we saw the heavy investment in the attack. We got Cunha, good signing. We got Mbumo. I think it was maybe frivolous, but that's fine. But we still needed a 9. We needed a center mid. We got the 9. Okay. We didn't get that center mid. I think the lack of that center mid is really, like you said, it's proving that we're paying dividends, and with regards to ground coverage, mid block control, and in general the right profile. We're just kind of a little bit of an amalgamation of a Frankenstein squad. So their message, in my opinion, to Ruben, was, can you get a tune out of these guys? And if you do, you got a little bit more leash, we'll get you what you want. I think he's passed that test. So that's what I think the next phase is. We're going to give you more money. Because remember, this is like a private equity firm. They're going to go and they're going to evaluate, is this the right man to back?
If
So I
that
think that-
was
yeah.
true, if that was true, would he be on a press conference a week ago saying, I'm going to have to figure out a different way to play because playing my way is going to cost too much money and too many players? If he was told in a meeting, we're going to give you more money, why would he come out and say,
Signal to noise.
way of
Why
playing-
why emote to the world? Hey, listen, I got
he's
woodwork behind
actually
me.
changing
We
the
got
formation.
money. No, he is changing it, but I also think he's forced to. I don't think he's going to be so.
Yeah, I thought that question was based off of AFCON and how things were going to go, and how he needed to fix it with his main.
I would
guys
say this is
gone.
like a black swan event of having all the guys at AFCON and having the injured guys in defense. I think more so it's the defense, in my opinion, that's causing a lot of the changes to the formation, if I'm being truly honest. I think the attack is lacking, but I think if you had more solidity in defense, this formation does create a lot of underlying statistics, which is why I think Ratcliffe came out before and said, we're going to give Ruben the 3 years that he needs, because the underlying was showing that he was creating a lot of chances. It's just we were a sieve at the back. So that's just philosophically. I just think if the guy's brought up through the 3-4-3, he's going to return to it at some point, and especially against lower competition like Wolves. I think it's a perfect opportunity to just kind of get those automatisms, because you need more time to develop those automatisms. You still do. And that's when we talk about chemistry, automatisms. Those are the things. Like, you can build them in different formations for sure. You can build different triangles, but they're going to be a little bit different fundamentally at a 4 at the back than they are at the three at the back with, wing. So that's where my point of view comes from there.
And I'll just tell you my point of view on regarding the onus is on the owners. I think the owners have done Ineos has done a lot of mistakes. First of all, when they came in, they had the opportunity to change the management and get Ten Hag out, because it's like, okay, we're new owners. This is not the guy we picked. Let's change him. They didn't, and then they fired him 10 weeks later. Another mistake added on that was they forced Ruben to come in now, which is terrible because he has a back 3 system, and they just got a whole bunch of back 4 players. And then you have last season's terrible record against Amorim that everyone's holding on him this year, which is really, I think, an unfair thing to put last year on him, because he did not want to come at that point because he knew it was going to be bad for him. The reason why I've been kind of positive with him this year is I've only taken this year as his I've only been judging him on this year, where he's had a summer to work on it, where he's had the ability to get the people that he wanted when he got some offensive players in. It's hard and it's difficult. Like Sky Sports and Carragher and all of them and all the media that gets around it will always say, look at his record. Has a terrible winning record for the last year he's been here. And that's just not, I don't think that's a fair assessment of what he wants to do as a manager. So for me, Semeex, I completely agree with you. It's all on the owners to do it. Whether or not they do it this January or wait till next summer, I think is where you and I differ. Because as you said yesterday, where I got you, you want another Bruno as a January signing, and it's very rare to get a Bruno in a January signing.
We were trying to get that with Semenyo. I mean, you can't say that.
I think that was market opportunity, those Semeex.
Yeah.
I think that was too good of a price to be true, but also I'm a little bit relieved we didn't. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and I will comment on the Ten Hag thing staying. I do believe that it was a mistake from our owners to keep him on, but I will add the caveat of for Ruben Amorim, it might have been a blessing in disguise. Because if Ruben had started last season and assessed his players too late, okay,
well, he would have started this season, right? And let's say the assessment is now, just correct. 17 games.
And we finished 15th last season, and he would have started from the beginning and finished 15th. He would have been sacked.
I would go even further. I think if he would have gotten around 10th or 9th, if he started this season, the leash would be lower. So that first betting in an assessment period that they afforded him last year, regardless of the nightmare season that we all went through, I think if he was forced to be more pragmatic and this was his starting point from this year, people would say, we want a system manager. What are you talking about? This guy's coming in and we're getting more of the same with Ten Hag. So when you view it from that scope and lens, that's why I believe that, okay, his preference is 3-4-3, but now because it's been shown the quality of the squad, the gaps in his system,
Ooh, Sean got stuck.
Inio slowed his internet down.
Oh,
the
shit.
tech support
I was gonna
guy
say
got the Wi-Fi
no,
drop
it's
off.
fine. I was just gonna say, that's why I took out the press conference. In order for him to really get that 3-4-3 with those players, you need more investment. So I think it's just signal to noise. I still think whatever those players are going to be, they're going to go for the earliest window they can without paying too high of a premium for that time increase. That's what I think.
Sean, you said that blessing in disguise we didn't get Semenyo. You have reasons?
I want to delve into that maybe on a next stream with Semeex because I know we're kind of running long.
Yeah,
but
I was about to.
But we do. But Semeex and I talked about this offline. I definitely want to talk to you guys as well, like about it,
guys,
because
I
I
want to
think
be live.
maybe not the right fit.
I want to be live every Friday from now on, except for one Friday where I'll be out of town visiting my parents right after the New Year's. But I'm going to be live every Friday from now on to do these kind of shows. And then I'll be live on Saturdays too, but whether it'll be something like this or a watch along. If we have a game on Saturday, it'll be a watch along. If we don't have a game on Saturday, it'll be something like this. I'm going to try to do it right around 8:45 a.m. so we can wrap up by 10 a.m. my time, which is right now. Wherever you are in the world, 10 a.m. is right now. 10:09
West Coast?
right now. Yeah.
Same.
So let's log off of here. If you're watching this, follow us and go to Footy with an Edge's channel, guys. Let's bless his channel too.
Before you guys leave, if Semeex isn't going to say it, make sure you like this stream. Leave a comment on it after the stream is done. Semeex actually does his little, he puts a little bit of polish and twang depending on how much he has time to really make this a more fully fledged out. Be on the lookout for that because I love listening to
I'm not
going to
edit this one. Thank you, Sean.
Not this
Thank
one?
you,
Okay, cool.
Only because I want to work on the tactical breakdown video. That's
Good.
it. So
Good. We've been deprived of it, man.
Yeah.
We have,
yeah,
please.
Sean's been on me.
I have,
me
dude.
Going, I know you like to edit all your live streams, but you need to work on your tactical videos. So Sean keeps me honest. So I'm going to be working on that. Ray, thank you for coming on. Anything you want to say, Ray, to wrap it up? I want to give you a chance.
We're good.
No, okay,
We're almost there. Be happy. 2 more hours.